Human activity is having a major impact on the planet. Our waste product pollute the water, warm the atmosphere, and acidify the oceans. Hello guys, welcome to the second discussion program for solve the problem of waste disposal on Sense Media Sri Lanka. Okay, I am pretty sure you have been watched my first part of the program. If you're not able to watch my first part of the program, I put on a card on the screen. So you can click that card and get in touch with the which were discussed on the first one. You know, our resource person is Dr. Anurudda Karunarathna. It's nice to have you with us on our program today, sir. So, Dr. Anurudda, when it comes to talk about waste management, how can you describe the present situation of the waste generation and treatment in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, at the present, let me to show you some statistics, the very latest comprehensive statistics of the waste sector in the country. We can discuss based on this very basic statistics compiled. We calculated the estimated. So first of all, I must say that we don't have very organized system of data keeping in the country, especially with respect to waste management. Most of these numbers, we internationally or nationally in academic perspective, in our academic institutions, we try to work with numbers, especially when we talk about waste, we express in term of tonnage, how many tons, how many cubic meters, how many kilos, but in real situation, hardly we measure the amounts in real municipal levels. So that's a very kind of a big issue in our system. We really don't know exact amount. But in some other societies, they can say what is the waste generation in entire country. By the evening, they would say, yeah, this, because they measure it. But in our system, we don't measure. So what we do is we do indirect estimations based on some of the measurements. We do research, but there is no continuous process except in very few places. Some of the organizations, they are doing very well, but very few, only 2-3 places in the country. So these numbers we develop based on our experiments and a lot of other secondary sources and estimations. And at least by now, most of the local authorities and the Ministry of Provincial Government, Local Authority, and also Central Environment Authority, Ministry of Environment, Urban Development Authority, and we, the academic and researchers, we and all other experts agree on these figures. So that's why I'm showing these figures. Right now, we have estimated our waste generation in the country, municipal waste generation, it's about 8,000, around 8,000 tons in a day. But out of this 8,000, only about, say, 3,800 metric tons, or say around 50% is collected. The rest is disposed where it is generated. Say it may be a house, maybe not connected to municipal collection. So if we think about the entire waste generation in the country, almost half, even slightly above the half, is generated, managed within the premises of generation. It may be in a proper way or maybe inappropriate way. That we have to accept. We cannot say that all these half of this waste is managed very well at household level. No, it is not. Institution level, it is not. So half is not connected to the centralized collection system executed by the local authorities, municipal council, urban councils, and Pradesh. What they collect is about 3,800 tons, the maximum possible estimate. And out of this collection, now, you know, in the country, we collect waste at least in two sources, like organic waste or the decomposable waste, and non-inorganic waste, at least in two categories. Most of local authorities, though it is not perfect, at least our policy and our strategy is to collect dispose waste in two categories, at least two categories, and collect it separately and manage it in separate way. So organic waste, about 1,100 tons, is go for composting. We have many composting facilities. I will show you figures in the country, taken to composting facility, centralized composting facility, and make compost. So this compost making, we introduced this technology quite some time ago, not as a mean of producing compost for agricultural use. It's a secondary objective. Primary objective was, and still primary objective is, to manage waste, to reduce its hazardous nature, it's the problematic nature. So that's why we do the composting. And then part of the waste end up in landfill. The first high standard sanitary landfill was built in Dompe. It was ready for operation back in 2015. Unfortunately, due to the management issues, it has capacity to receive about 100 tons in a day for safe disposal, but now only receive about 5 tons. So it's heavily underutilized due to some management issues, like in many other sectors. And very recently, we all know one private company, they invest on the waste to energy facility, incineration facility. They are having capacity to manage 700 tons of municipal waste, mainly from Colombo and other cities. Now, major portion of the waste from Colombo municipality and other municipalities around Colombo end up with this waste to energy incineration facility, about 700 tons. And unfortunately, still a major portion of the collected waste end up in open dump site. The largest dump site was collapsed back in 2017, Meetadamulla. Now the second largest may be Karunarathna, and we have few major, very large-scale dump sites all around the country, and so many small dump sites. We calculated, we visited, and we estimated we have 339 small and large-scale dump sites scattered all around the country. Wherever you have a city or settlement, there is a dump site. Because we don't have good infrastructure in most of the rural places to manage these, especially the inorganic waste. When we separate decomposable and non-decomposable, small fraction out of the collection, only about 5% or 4% is go for recycling, rest end up in dump site. So that's the present situation in the country in terms of different technological options and different management options. So this is the present scenario in the country.
Now, I would like to direct my attention for the policies regarding the waste management. Nowadays, this word, policies, became very famous on the media for some of the field by criticizing certain extent, because it's only a word on a paper. It's not a conducting well, it's not a implementing in a society in a practical manner. However, Dr. Anurudda, considering about sustainable policies, what are the sustainable policies associated with solid waste management in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, sustainability is, we all agreed, all the countries in the world under the United Nations, we have set sustainable development goals, SDGs, 17 goals. And very, very interestingly, the waste management, we can link the waste management to each and every goal. If you take energy sector, only maybe 3-4 links with very specific goals. But when it comes to waste management, we can link up everywhere. So that's the complexity of this waste management to the development, the sustainable development. And simply the sustainable development is a system that we ensure the resources and the comfort and the environment that we have today at least will sustain in the future, at least in present form. We may not be able to reverse back into the system that we had 100, 200 years ago, or maybe 1,000 years ago, but at least in present context, we have to preserve and we have to reduce the adverse impact on the environment. In waste management, yes, we are doing the very same thing. And in Sri Lankan context, if I specify, because the global context, they have different agendas, different ways of management, which I explained a little earlier as well. But in Sri Lankan context, of course, we have set our own targets, own policies on this sustainability, make sure to kind of have a sustainable waste management in the country. So most of the time in Sri Lankan context, the people, the public blame governments. At the end, we are the government. I mean, we are stakeholders of the government, partly blame ourselves. But if you go through the history of the policy and the strategies and the legal framework in Sri Lanka, for instance, when Japan or some European nations or some of the developing and developed Asian nations talk about waste management policies and public clearing policies, sort of regulations and strategies in government level, it's very surprising that in Sri Lanka, the very first piece of legislation was introduced back in 1860s, more or like almost 150 years ago in the country. From that point of onwards, there are a number of different initiatives, different kind of strategies and policies. All are focusing in early days, it was on public health improvement, but now most of these regulations, policies, everything are related to the sustainability. And in Sri Lankan context, very recently, the new policy, the old policy on the waste management policy was back in 2007. Now we have revised that to a more comprehensive policy, national waste management policy. And that policy addresses all these modern day concepts. Whatever the concept, the fundamental of the policy is the resource circular society, that we have to have a resource circular society. Prime objective of having this society is to make sure that society develops sustainably. The sustainable development is ensured in the policy. In addition to these policies, there are a lot of other national level initiatives and national level strategies and action plans. Very recently, even we have developed the Ministry of Environment, and very happy to say the academics also contributed a lot to these developments. Lot of new policies and regulations are there. Now what we have to do is all these relevant stakeholders, especially municipal waste management is a prime duty, collection is prime duty of local authorities by the constitution. They have got these powers and the responsibility by the constitution. So they have to do a lot of things, and Ministry of Environment, they are doing a lot of guidance and policy and strategy formulations, and other like Urban Development Authority and all other relevant authorities. We have a lot of, I'm showing you a lot of regulations, guidelines aiming the sustainability. Very, very recent one, every year we get a lot of regulations. Some of them are more than 100 years old, still in use. Still, whenever someone having a kind of malpractices in household level, public health inspector take you to court based on more than 150 years old regulation. So that is on the one. So we need actually, right, in modern day, we need a very comprehensive set of revisions, especially in the municipal waste sector, the local government ordinances and regulations. We need some kind of update because it's not very well par with the national environmental management policies. So that is one of the challenge that we have right now. But we have very nice policy strategies and regulation framework to support sustainable waste management in the country. So in simple, that's the conclusion.
We can use waste as a resource or investment. Can you believe it? So, Dr. Anurudda, you are the expert for this field. So, tell me, what are the sustainable financial opportunities or benefits associated with the solid waste management?
That's very good question because in modern world, finances or the resources. Financial resources are the most important thing, but in a broader perspective, that's only not only the money, but the opportunities for the private sector as well as individuals involved in this, how to proceed. In waste management policy, the recent policy encourage and establish a kind of a policy to invite private sector. In Sri Lanka, very unique feature of waste management, municipal waste management, is the collection and the low regulation. That's why I said we need some little changes in the very old-fashioned policies, because simply the waste management ordinance or act says that whenever municipality collects waste, it's become a property of municipal council, municipal authority. So private owners, recyclers, private sector, they cannot claim the ownership of the waste. Those are legal issues that we have to solve. But soon we will solve it, and also the government will come up with mechanism, and already there are strategies to start kind of private businesses related to waste. There are a lot of opportunities. One is the recycling. Recycling is a very big opportunity locally and globally. So there are a lot of opportunities, and very interesting fact is many individuals, general public, they are not very aware of the global funds. There are so many funds where you can initiate a business with like your own, like zero investment from your pocket. There are a lot of global funds, because a lot of developed nations and larger organizations, international NGOs, organizations, they put a lot of money on this waste management sector. So there are a lot of opportunities for individual to start up waste management businesses. Not only recycling, but value addition, and even I'll show you a few examples of this nature. In Sri Lanka, the old-fashioned way, or the way of waste collection, now it is not there, with lot of involvement. We are happy we were part of this improvement, so now it is improving from this stage to a fairly good stage. So this is one of the places where we can expect a lot of opportunities for individuals and small businesses, recycling business. Not only plastic, not only steel, most of the other stuffs we can recycle, including the electronic waste and other waste. There are ways and means. We have a very good private investment in the country for establishing recycling facilities. Now they are looking for materials. Their biggest challenge is to sustain. They don't have enough material. So individuals, they can start up collection businesses. They don't have to process into final product. They can collect all these recyclable material and take to recycling facilities that we have in the country. So that is one big opportunity, and there are many people already involved in this sector, but still not enough. There are a lot of opportunities. So this is one of the opportunities, and this is an opportunity for government sector and maybe larger organizations. To one of the big issue, we have 339 dump sites in the country, and we don't have investment, because This is an investment where you cannot gain or expect any return on investment, because there is no uh, outcome from these dump sites when you convert to a safe disposal facility. But in global level, there are so many funds, global funds, where the municipalities and other organizations can get these global funds and do the rehabilitation. This is one of the activity we have done. The first one in Sri Lanka, in Nuwara, back like 20, almost 20 years ago. And we developed into a fairly good condition from an open dump site to a fairly good condition disposal facility, and Candy sometimes ago. And in many other parts of the country, we have now established different mechanisms to support, especially for government organization. We have National Solid Waste Management Support Center, where they coordinate even for funding. So there are a lot of funding opportunities for government organizations. And technology, one of not only the finances, but also technology. It's a blend of finance and technology. Technology is also available in National Center as well, and in the universities and other research organizations, and some of the other donor funds for improvements. Those are opportunities for the central government, not even to local authorities. Central government, they can tap. One of the example I'll show you, tell you, very recently we did a study for a Korean environmental ministry. They are ready to invest millions, so many millions, on this landfill gas capture. What we have to do is to go for a carbon trade agreement. They will buy our carbon credits and they will invest on dump site rehabilitation, rather than just arguing on whether we should sell our carbon rights to other countries or not. But these are some strategies that we can, opportunities in the global level, where we can improve our system if we don't have enough finances within the country. And Sri Lanka's recycling business, I'm showing you a couple of pictures of an individual who is in the this pet bottle business. He's earning quite a lot of money, and with a blend of technology. Instead of just collecting bottle into a bag and load into a truck, where it maximum weight would be like 500 kilos, but if you can make into this kind of bale, you can load 5,000 tons in a truck. It is very economical to transport even to Colombo, rather than transporting 500 kilos in a truck. You can send 10 times of that. Then the transportation cost, unit cost reduces great. So it's a kind of blend of technology and small seed money to start up a recycling business. So these are some of the opportunities that we have right now. This rehabilitation project, waste to energy project for the big investors. Still, there are opportunities for waste to energy and also new landfill development. They can go for public-private partnerships. There is a need of safe disposal facility in the country. Government is not in the position to invest, so private investors, they can come up to solve the issue, and there will be a return for them, especially the tipping fee, and the if it is a waste to energy facility, they can sell the electricity and earn. We already have one good example, the facility established by the Atkins Spence, the incinerator. So there will be a couple of more incinerators coming up in the future, and few more big investment from the larger investors. But even individuals, they can invest on different projects. We have the know-how, we have the technology, we can transfer the technology. Only thing is they have to go into field and start up these initiatives. So these are some of the initiatives. These are the opportunities. So they can, of course, start businesses. There are a lot more opportunities, and especially employment opportunities in different levels to start as business, and also to sell your knowledge, your expertise. So knowledge is the most important piece of kind of marketable stuff in modern day. If you come up with innovative ways of recycling, innovative ways of pollution prevention, there is a market. already there in the country as well as in global level.
So we have discussed earlier so many different concepts regarding the waste management. Accordingly, Dr. Anurudda, as a society, as a family, as an individual, how to reach for the zero waste concept?
Let me to revisit one of the fact that we discussed a little earlier. So zero waste is sometimes general public tend to understand this zero waste concept in a different way, assuming that zero waste is a system that we don't produce waste or we prevent production of waste. But in a broader context, it is not the avoidance of waste. So we, as a society or as an individual, it is very difficult to stay in the upper layer, the reduce or refuse or prevention layer, because in human activities, the people who are very much loving to have a kind of a zero waste or a kind of a environment friendly lifestyle, yes, you can go up to certain extent, but absolute zero is a concept. It's not a practical application. But in broader concept, in more real practical point of view, zero waste is the concept where we don't send waste to landfills, final disposal facilities. So before that, we tend to manage our waste. So that is an achievable target. That is something we can achieve. So that's why back in 2010, European Union, they decided the European Union policy towards the waste management is to go for zero waste Europe. So that is the place where I think most of Sri Lankan general public pick up this word zero waste. When Europe opted to go for zero waste, in their conceptually is no landfills. They don't want to put waste in the landfill. Landfill is something facility. Of course, it's a high-tech facility. We minimize the interaction of waste with the environment. So it's a kind of a put in a container and you just bury it in the soil. So it will be there as it is for hundreds of years. But without doing that, we try to manage in other three segments: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Then some of the countries, the European Union adapted this concept and they agreed on this concept because some of the countries, well-established societies, now they are like almost close to zero waste, like Switzerland. More than 60% of their waste is used for energy recovery and rest organic fraction is for composting, organic recycling. And many developed nations in the European Union, they are going for this waste recovery and like they target on the upper tiers of the hierarchy. And unfortunately, there are few poor countries in European Union, they still depend on the landfilling. So what European Union want is to reduce this landfill amount in the future. So they want to take this curve down and to make it zero. So that is the European Union target of zero waste. They want to increase the recycling and energy recovery and composting and minimize the amount end up in landfills. Not only European Union, but many other countries. If you calculate number of landfills in US, how many landfills they have closed, they simply close it safely, no, not in operation, and they try to go for other technologies, recycling and reduction and resource recovery and energy recovery. So that is the basic idea of zero waste in a society.
Finally, we came to consider about the solid waste treatment and their impact. So, Dr. Anurudda, what are the solid waste treatment strategies or option in the modern world?
In terms of waste management treatment options, we do have a lot of treatment options. I'm showing here a very complicated diagram. When you see it, it looks like a very complicated diagram, but this concept is called integrated solid waste management uh, system, because waste is a very heterogeneous material. It's contained many things that we already discussed. So a solution is also many solutions. It's not just one single solution. For waste management, if someone argue that in technological point of view, you can take everything to a recycling facility and recycle everything, is not true. It's not true. It won't happen. Even you cannot incinerate every plastics. There are plastic you cannot incinerate. And also, you can incinerate, but the environmental effect is so great that it is not advisable to incinerate. Paper, same. Organic waste, same. So you cannot take every organic matter to composting facility and expect everything to be compost at the end. No, it won't happen. So we need combination of different technologies. So that is the meaning of integration. So this is a kind of a very simple schematic figure showing this what are the possibilities that we have in present day Sri Lankan context. So we do have a lot of possibilities, but to do any of these, one of the important thing, this is for the general public. Most important thing to do these wonders in the waste management, to do composting and anaerobic digestion, what we call biogas, and incineration, landfilling, recycling, and there are different ways of recycling, material recycling, energy recycling, thermochemical recycling. You can make petrols or like kerosene and like combustion fuel out of plastics. It's not a rocket science. It's a very simple process. There are technologies, but only thing is, especially in this technology, the cost. When you convert 1 kilogram of plastic into 1 liter of say petrol, the amount of energy you have to put into the system to make this conversion sometimes exceeds the value of petrol. So there is an economic kind of a issue. Otherwise, technology, very simple. Any undergraduate, those who have follow chemistry, they would do, because we are just reversing the crude oil refining process. So those are very simple things. There are initiatives, there are trials in the world, but to do any of this, one of the very important thing to do is at generators level, at individual level, is sorting. So without this, nothing will happen. Only option for us, if you mix your waste and dispose, give it to a municipality, only option is take it to a landfill and dispose in a landfill. So most important thing is sort it. When you have biodegradable waste, say rapidly biodegradable waste like food waste, kitchen waste, right? Something that very quickly will spoil up. Then you can use it very effectively for not for composting, but for biogas. That's a very good technology. The slurry from the biogas you can develop to a fertilizer, and the methane gas you can take into energy generation. There are examples in Sri Lanka, and also some of the other byproduct, fiber fraction, you can go to take as a fiber like coconut fiber kind of fibers. There are technologies, and the like slowly decomposable like garden waste and little bit of food waste, vegetable waste kind of stuff. Very good for composting, like what we are doing. Then we can get something for the agriculture sector. And non-biodegradable waste that cannot be degraded, but like plastic waste, metal kind of things, we can go for if it is non-degradable but combustible. We cannot expect degradation by biological like microorganism, but still combustible. Like plastics, we can use for waste to energy, or we can go for recycling. So there are so many opportunities and avenues to go for recycling in different scale. And of course, we can I can show you some of these technological like options, different options. I will show you some of these example in Sri Lanka. Already there in the market. I will show you small scale for and medium scale. So these are some of the facilities like recycling facilities. If you separate your plastic at household level, someone even would like to pay you a reasonable price for your plastic. Sometimes you can sell 1 kilo of plastic for 20-30 rupees, or you can exchange to a like a bucket or something, like the batta van comes and pick you plastic and recyclable. So that those are new job opportunities. You can start, and also you can earn from waste generated in your household. And again, I emphasize, most important thing is separate. Otherwise, nobody would accept your waste, either municipality or other individuals. And we can make plastic recycling, and also if you separate your organic waste, someone would collect your waste and use for animal feed or else composting. There are a lot of composting facilities in the country. So those are the technical options. And also another big dimension of biogas. We have developed technologies, and there are technologies already available in the country. Large scale facilities are to be constructed. One would be soon operate in Matara, and one will come to Moratua. So large quantities of biogas we will develop, and there are a lot more small scale biogas units in the country in household level and in hotels and many places. These are the opportunities for individuals and organizations and large municipalities. And also there are thermal processes, not very famous in the country, but in the world we have a lot of opportunities with this thermal. It is not just burning. We can convert this biomass and other products to different other products like cha, what we call biochar and bio oil. It's an oil, and also gases, synthetic gases that we can use for energy generation. So there are hundreds of possibilities. We have developed some technology, and already technology there in the field, even in Sri Lanka, for each and every technological aspect. We have example in the country. So we can show you different examples in other countries as well as in Sri Lanka. In specific examples, with the time limitation, I am not going to discuss every example, but we have in different scales. So it's very small biogas units in a small house to a medium scale composting in a private organization, or maybe large scale composting or waste energy or recycling facilities. So there are a lot of opportunities, technological advancement in the sector, and infrastructure already they are in place. But one of the big challenge for everyone, even the collector, earlier days we called these scavengers, or maybe rag pickers or botal pattarakarya. Challenge is nowadays we don't separate waste, and it's you tend to put everything into one bag and just throw it somewhere else. That won't help any of these technological development. Best thing is separate your waste, then every piece of waste would have a value for you and for the society. So that's the last message I have to take into the public.
So I hope now you can gain the certain knowledge regarding the waste management based on this program. I would like to give a big thank for Dr. Anurudda Karunarathna and all the viewers. Okay guys, stay tuned to SenseMedia Sri Lanka, and we'll meet again totally different scenario. Catch you later.
ලෝකයේ පළවෙනි වාරයට රටවල් 8ක් විතර ලංකන EV launch එකක්.